it might have. I'm just worried that sometimes this mouse pad is really sensitive, and I might have not pulled it off of the streaming button fast enough. So it might have stopped after starting.
Do you want to text Justin?
I'm watching on the live stream right now to see.
I get a little beautiful compliment. It's great. Go ahead. I wanted to do that while we talk. He doesn't want to hear me speak anyway. He wants to just play over me.
Looks like we're in.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for attending this class. I know it's part of the orchestra class. This is another in our series of Q classes, and today we have a very special guest, Free Planet Radio, Chris Rosser, Eliot Wadopian, and River Guerguerian, and three great human beings, fantastic musicians, and I'm proud to say friends. I just want to mention a couple of things. As you know, these classes, this is part of the section of the Q classes that happen in orchestra. It's around world music, but we're trying to bring you some music with world music with a different look to it, and try to get your creative juices flowing and your entrepreneurial skills engaged. So with that, if you do have questions, put them into the YouTube chat where Brandy and I will be monitoring that, and we'll feed the questions later on, maybe after some of the performances. I also want to remind everybody of a couple of things. One is that registration began on Monday. I really expect you all to register for your classes sooner rather than later. You understand all the budgetary issues. I'm sure all the students have been at least a little bit aware of that. Secondly, you know, in New York State, you can get vaccinated if you're over, I think it's 16 or 18. I sent something out today. There was a pop-up vaccination site at Queens College this weekend, and they were able to vaccinate something like 2,000 students or something. So please be aware of all the vaccination sites that are going on. There's a big push to get it done. And lastly, tonight, if anybody's interested, you can email my QC address tonight. River is going to join the business music class and talk about his life as a musician, both in New York and outside of New York. So with that, I want to again say thank you so very, very much to these three great people who are going to entertain you for the next hour and answer your questions. This is, drum roll please, River, Free Planet Radio.
Right. Hello. Doom, tick, 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 doom, tick, tick, doom, tick, doom, tick, 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 doom, tick, 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 doom, tick, 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 doom, tick, tick, doom, tick, doom, 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 tick, 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 pop, pop, pop. right. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Good morning. Thank you so much. Hello from Asheville, North Carolina. We're in the Blue Ridge and Smoky Mountains up here. And it's been a beautiful morning. It's going to be 70 degrees today. Hopefully it's nice over there in New York or wherever you are right now, whatever part of the world you're viewing this. Thank you for joining us. We are Free Planet Radio. We have Chris Rosser, Eliot Wadopian. My name is River Guerguerian. And this last piece was called Kashlimar Variations. Basically, if you were counting along, it's a traditional Anatolian 9/8 piece. And then we mix it up. We put the subdivisions in different spots. There was a break that was in a 21 beat cycle, if you're also counting along, for those of you. And yeah, we've been playing this one for about just a year and a half now. So we've been together actually 20 years now. And I'd like to introduce Chris Rosser, who's the composer for our next piece.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Just make sure my mic's on. Great to be here with you. We're going to do... I don't know what genre you would call this is, but I guess jazz trio, yeah. And it's in 8+7 for the most part. So what's that? 15? 15/8. But but it changes a lot also. So this is called Dabayo.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That was Dabayo. This next piece, we're going to check in with we have a fabulous camera operator and working all the mission control here in Asheville. Her name is Brandy Mizilka Hubiak. So she's running the scene here in our studio. We have about 4 cameras going back. Our hands are busy on our instruments, so we're very fortunate to have Brandy to give you a few different scenes and screen options and so on and so forth for. Give it up. It's just better than us just sitting in front of our laptop, so we're really grateful. We're actually going through about 16 different channels right now and a few cameras going into mission control. Thank you so much. This next piece is called City Nature. This piece was written when I was doing a tour in Northern Europe. I was in Oslo, and I was sitting in on some grounds, and this piece came to me. There's a whole introduction to this, which we won't do for this today, and but we'll just do, the really long introduction. But I start off this piece by playing a South Indian instrument. As you know, Michael also, who I've known for many years, plays different Indian instruments, so I like to mix up different things that I have here. I have a Middle Eastern frame drum that I play here that is actually, usually you play it on your lap, as most of you know. And they're really wonderful instruments because you get to use your fingers. And so in Indian drumming and Middle Eastern drumming and Western Asian drumming, it's all kind of in there. And as opposed to this drum, which is a very large diameter drum, it's very tight skinned, so you get a certain kind of edge and doom sound, which is the bass tone, then you get some dry sounds. Here it's a very, very loose drum, and you can manipulate the pitch by squeezing on the head. And this piece is called City Nature. Thank you, everyone. That one was called City Nature. And Chris was playing his electrified oud on that, and he'll demonstrate that to you later. Even though he was demonstrating to you now when he was playing it. He's going to pick up the Indian dotar now. He'll talk about that. And this next piece is called Tango. It's on our second album. I think we have 5 albums right now. Each one is a little bit different. We have a Global Symphony Project album, which will have a piece from that in a few songs. We have our first album, the New Bedouin Dance, and this one is off of The Unraveling. We also have an album called Stillness. It's actually a meditation record, and our last album is called Pursuit. It's more of a jazz-infused record. So, like I said, we've been together for about 20 years now. I say 50. Hello. And it's really our pleasure to be here with you. And we have Brandy. If there are any questions, Brandy, please let us know also.
I don't see any questions specifically, but there's so much love. I wish you guys could see.
Thank you.
All the clapping of hands and people just saying how much they're loving it.
Thank you.
And thank you all for being out there and watching.
Get some Willie sticks for that. Yeah. Get our seed pods in action. It is spring out here. Hopefully it's springtime over there too.
But if anybody does have specific questions for the musicians, go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on it, and I can just convey them between songs for you if you have any real specific questions.
So really quickly, I'd like to show you guys the dotar. This is an Indian folk instrument. And some of you may know the sarod. That's the bigger classical version of this. And it has 17 strings, and you, instead of playing on your fingertips, you actually slide on your fingernails on your left hand. Which takes a little getting used to as a guitar player for me, but... And it has a whole set of, it has 6 main playing strings, 4 main melody strings, high drone strings, and then it has a whole bunch of sympathetic strings that vibrate along, similar to how sitar works, and kind of resonate. You tune it to whatever scale you're playing, it resonates along. And this tune, Tango, like the River mentioned, is sort of our Indian tango tune, so we named it appropriately Tangoa. So this is Tangoa.
Tango. Whew. Thank you so much for that one. This next piece is oh, we have something.
So we do have a few questions.
Okay.
Aaron Meaves would like to know if all those instruments are fretless, and I think he means are all dotars fretless?
Yes, all dotars are. And the electric oud was fretless also.
And Mark Powell was wondering if that dotar was specially made for you.
It wasn't, but it's an unusually nice one. Normally they're pretty primitive instruments. You'd see them playing on the streets or something, and with kind of a homemade look. This one's kind of made to be a classical quality instrument, and it was actually made by my teacher Ali Akbar Khan. His the same maker that made his sarodes, which were incredible. He made my dotar also, and he's no longer around, so
Yeah.
I'm hanging on to it.
Chris cherishes it. Chris takes it to bed at night.
That's the only one I'd never leave anywhere at a gig or hotel
it's the
room or
one.
anything. Yeah.
He hugs on
That's
that
pretty
one.
special.
Yeah.
And Michael is curious about your setup, if you want to explain your setup, because so many musicians are needing to figure out how to create venues during this time. So do you want to take a moment?
Like our audio setup, right?
Yeah, your audio and...
Okay.
Sort of the cameras and everything. Yeah.
Well, right now, as far as audio-wise, we have, right before the pandemic, we were going to go on this nice tour, and we bought our old analog mixer, crapped out, our 16-channel mixer. And then we got one of these, believe it or not, these X-Air things. It's a stage box, but there's a computer chip and Wi-Fi in it.
Behringer.
It's a Behringer X-Air, and it has 16 channels in, 8 channels out. And each one of us now control our own mix this way. And then there's the main outs. And then we have 6 sub mixes, so we each have different. We can have different monitoring. I have a headphone amp here. I have some good preamps and API preamps, but you could just go right into the box. It sounds, for what you get and so on, it sounds really good. You could do major EQing, routing. The routing things are amazing on this. And then we send 2 channels to the computer where Brandy is at. And then we have it. You can reroute things in there, but the easiest way, if you have an extra audio interface, is to go 2 channels into a separate audio face. Then you know exactly what's coming out that way. If you try to reroute in the same mixer and put 2 more in there, you don't always get a true example of what's coming out in the main mix. So all the 16 channels are coming through there, and then she's going there, and then she's using OBS software, which allows. It's like instead of getting a $5,000 hardware encoder for different cameras, we have 3 different iPhones and 2 web cameras right now, all plugged into the computer through USB, believe it or not. And then OBS takes all those, and then Brandy makes from those 4 or 5 cameras a multitude of like 10 different scenes. She can take different cuts from each one and create a different scene from the different one. And OBS is all free, and a lot of gamers and stuff use that. And what else? What else do you need to know?
That's pretty good.
Is that, yeah, and you got to check the latency. In the audio, you can check the latency. Like usually the audio will be a little bit ahead of the video because video takes a little bit longer to transfer, especially going through, we're not using Wi-Fi. Always, if you're going to do any of this stuff, always use a cable, use an Ethernet cable and so on. Just get much better streaming qualities and all that, and you get less latency. But you have to take little audio samples of yourself and video samples and make sure the latency is correct. And we have it off by like 165 milliseconds. Those of you who are interested in that, that really helps, though. Should we do our next piece, or is any? Okay, Odyssey 13 is our next piece.
Right. Yes, this is a brand new composition. It started with we've done a couple of pieces recently this way, where River composed basically a drum composition, and then we came up with bass line and a melody to go with it, rather than the other way, like Tangoa, the last tune. It was sort of, I brought in the melody and the tune, and they figured out bass and drum part. This is kind of working the opposite way.
Yeah.
And, drummers finally get to go first in the tune. River's finally taken over.
Yes.
So this is, I guess, a group composition, and we're in the Odyssey School in Asheville, so we call this Odyssey 13.
Yeah, it's in
13.
You'll see it's always in 4 little pulses, or 5 if you're counting a certain way, and the certain subdivisions shift, and that's what makes it an Odyssey.
Yes.
And the solos are in 7 and 14 and 6, so Don't.
Yeah.
You'll get it.
Odyssey through space and time.
Thank you,
Odyssey
folks.
13.
Odyssey 13. That one actually was a world premiere, by the way. I know as long as I've known Michael, he loves doing new music as much as he can. So that, Michael, is a world premiere. Thank you. Actually, speaking of Michael, take a water. Are we cool, Brandy, by the way?
Yeah, you're great.
You should put Michael's face on the screen because, actually, only if you want to. But this piece is dedicated to Michael. I've known Michael since about 1990 or maybe 89. I met him, and then we started the group Talujan together. I was one of the founders with him and I and Ferrari and Daniel Kennedy, and that was amazing. And they're still going together. I had to leave, and I left civilization for 5 years and lived in the Himalayan mountains and other places. So I had to leave the city. Sorry. And then now I'm here for the last 22 years. But this piece is dedicated to Michael Parsley because it started off as a piece that he wrote on an album. Michael Lipsy actually has a solo record out there, if you don't know. It's called So Long, Thanks. And there's a piece he played on it of mine called 17/8. That piece a few years ago got transferred into a piece called 16/8, and 16/8 turned into Saida's motorcycle. Saida was my grandmother's name, and she used to love to ride motorcycles. And it's actually, we just made a single of this, and I believe it's going to be coming out on Spotify and Apple Music a week from Friday.
23rd,
April 23rd. It's called Saida's Motorcycle. So Michael, if you're listening, this one's for you. Anything else that you want to say about it, Chris?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It has the exotic electric guitar on it. I love it. That's exotic in our band.
And I have to make sure I get, this is a very super fancy, come on. All right, sometimes you got to get the click right, because if you go too fast on this one, it doesn't create a lot of happiness.
Michael says thank you for the dedication.
All right. Sweet, thank you. All right. Shut the music out. Oh. There's a new section of this too, Michael. There's a whole different 12/8 section, you'll see. outside his motorcycle. Thank you. Hopefully you like that one, Michael. And talk about it later, though. And next we're going to do a piece that Chris composed. He got a grant through Chamber Music America for this one, having a piece written for a string quartet and our trio. This was a few years ago. We premiered it at the Asheville Percussion Festival, which we had 9 of them so far. And this one is called Ecstatic Verses, and this is the third of the ecstatic verses.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah, it's in 10/8 time, and one of the stipulations of the grant was that I write some Middle Eastern quarter tones, which are the notes in the cracks between the notes on the piano. So this song is all in. If you play a D from D to D on the piano, it's all the white notes. But every time you get to E and B, they're a little bit lower than you think. Oh, and I should say, this is an oud. This is it's a descendant of the lute. The lute went to the, or I'm sorry, this is the ancestor of the lute. The oud went to Spain and became el oud, and then that became the lute, and then that became the guitar.
Yeah.
But it has 6 pairs of strings. A lot of times the bass string doesn't have a pair on it, so it has 11 strings really. But and it's fretless, and I love it so much. And this is actually a brand new one. I just got this from Turkey a month or so ago. Took about 2 months to get here in a crate, and it's a little different than a traditional oud because it has guitar tuning pegs. Normally they'll look a little more like a viola, like viola pegs, but this is much, much easier to keep in tune, so I'm very happy. This is Ecstatic Verses, 3rd movement.
Thank you. That's ecstatic verses. I think we have time for 2 more pieces. I think it's an hour-long program. You all want to do feeling Pursuit?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do Pursuit. Let's get Chris back on the keys. Everything cool over there, Brandy? In Mission Control Heaven? Yes.
Yeah, we're good. Actually, somebody was asking if any of this is improvised, and I said that this is all composed, but improvisation plays into how you collaborate together in your composing. So if you want to talk about that process at all.
Yeah, I mean, like that last piece was pretty through composed. There weren't any solos, but most of the others, there'll be composed sections, and then it'll open up for solos. You know, like this next tune, you'll hear each of us take a solo after the melody, kind of like a jazz tune where there's a head melody and then solos, and then you go back to the head at the end. But it's a mix. So this is a tune called Pursuit, and it sounds a little bit like a chase scene in a movie. So that's where the title came from. It's also the title of our last album that we put out. It's out there on Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. We even have
a website.
hard copies.
Oh yeah, that's right. We still do.
I think there's 10 of them left if anyone has CD players left. All right, Pursuit.
Pursuit. Thank you, thank you.
Chase it, chase it.
Hope you're all enjoying yourselves wherever you are. Wherever you are, I hope you have a blessed day after this song that we're playing. This will be our last song. It's called Moroccan Taxi. I think it's off our second CD, and around here was one of our big hits, which means they play it on the radio show, on the local radio NPR station.
Right, sing along if you know it.
Sing along if you know it, exactly. Are there any other final questions, or did Michael want to come on, or we'll do that after the song?
I think we're all good.
Good. We'll just make some music. If you haven't heard, we are in the mountains of Asheville, North Carolina right now. Having a good time.
right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Can they hear me now? Or
Yeah.
you guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
Michael.
Yeah. We're gonna have to end it here. But guys, thank you. It's such a pleasure to hear you guys and see you. And thanks so much. It was just fantastic. You should see the comments. You have to go back later.
Okay.
It's like just hundreds of comments. All the orchestras. This was basically for the orchestra class, and some guests, I'm sure. But and Eliot, I think your kids are there too. So
Yeah,
so-
cool. Good for them.
Nice.
I told them I have kind of an affinity towards you, so.
Oh, nice.
We miss you, Michael. We miss you. When do we get to hang again?
Yeah. Well, I might be coming down there, but let's say we won't bore the rest of the people with that. But I hope to see you soon, guys.
I'll
Thank you
miss
so,
you.
Yeah.
so much. We're gonna let everybody split. This was just fantastic, and I can't tell you how much I just want to say thanks. I can't say it enough. So
Our
thank
extreme
you.
pleasure.
Thank you,
so
Michael.
much, Michael.
Thank you.
River, I'll see you later on, everybody. River's going to come to the class at 6:30 tonight. It's a business music class. He's going to talk about his life as a teacher, as a player, as an entrepreneur. And if you're interested in coming, just send me an email to my QC address. I'll send you the link. It starts around 6:30, 6:45. He'll show up. Eliot, Chris, you guys are just great. Thank you. I hope
Thank you.
life's treating you well during the pandemic, and I hope to see you all very soon. Everybody else, remember things like juries are coming up and registration and whatnot. Please check the schedule. Our next semester, we really turned the schedule upside down to accommodate COVID, the reality of COVID. So make sure you take a look and don't take the schedule for granted. It's quite changed. And register. Anyway, thank you all. Thanks for coming to the Q class. Thanks, Brandy. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carlos or Robin. I'm not sure. But thank you, Brandy. You guys were just fantastic. So take care, everybody. Have a good
Thank you. Good luck on your juries, everybody. Woo!